Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Alberto Zannetti from IULM University, live in Milan. I am International Mission Officer at IULM University, and for those of you who have just joined us today, this is our International Online Open Day. It's 4:30 p.m. in Milan, local time, and we are now about to start this session, and we're going to have a presentation about the 2-year master's degree in strategic communication. Without further ado, I will now introduce the keynote speakers for this session. Together with us, there will be Professor Stefania Romenti, course coordinator for strategic communication, Grazia Murtarelli, researcher at the Faculty of Communication, and please allow me to introduce as well Giulia Baratelli, second-year student of strategic communication. So I will be in the background with you, and I will be also moderating the Q&A session on Microsoft Teams after your presentation. Professor, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Alberto, and welcome. Welcome to everybody. Welcome to this presentation. We will try to just introduce you the master program with the key characteristics and the key features of this master program. First of all, I wanted to be very precise about what does that mean, strategic communication, which is the meaning of this word, and above all, which are the career opportunities for people who attend a master course in strategic communication. If we can go to the next slide, we can see that next slide, please. Thank you. We can see that strategic communication is a word, is a widespreading word in the web. Since in 2020, more than 400 million times strategic communication was searched by people. But from a professional point of view, it is very important to understand what does it mean, since we need to understand which are the contents of this professional role. So if we look at the next slide, please, we can see 3 women. Okay, probably you are not able to recognize them because they are not famous, they are not VIPs, they are not very important persons, but they are very important in the field of strategic communication. And they are strategic communicators in very different sectors, in very different fields. The first one she is the head of strategic communication of a public school in California. The person in the middle, so the woman in the middle, she was the director of strategic communication at the White House during the presidency of President Donald Trump. And the last one, she was the president of Lithuania. And as you can see, she is showing the logo of NATO, because NATO some years ago funded a Center for Excellence in Strategic Communication. So as you can see, these are 3 persons who are very famous in the field of strategic communication, and they operate in very different sectors, in the public sector, in the political sector, and also at the international level, for instance, and at the in international institutions such as NATO. So that is important, because when you deal with strategic communication, you don't have just to work for corporations or for business companies, but you can also manage strategic communication in a political sector or in public sector. So in our master program, students learn to deal with strategic communication in different different professional sectors. If we go to the next slide, we can see the definition of strategic communication that our students learn. Strategic communication encompasses all types of communication. So when you attend our master program, you learn to manage external communication as well as internal communication. You learn to manage verbal communication, but also not verbal communication, or digital communication, but also more traditional communication. So all types of communication processes, and all communication processes which are substantial for the survival and sustained success of an entity. So what is really important for a strategic communicator, a strategic communication professional, is to be to deal with communication processes which are very important for the success, for the strategic goals of an entity. And as you can see within brackets, you can see that we mean corporations, business companies, for instance, but we mean also governments, we mean not for profit. If you think of very important not-for-profit associations such as Amnesty International or other associations like that, obviously they deal and they manage in a very professional way strategic communication processes, social movements, celebrities, and so on. So strategic communication is the purposeful use of communication by an entity to engage in conversations of strategic significance to its goals. And as you can see, our students learn to formulate strategies, but also to execute them, to implement them, and obviously to measure and assess them at the end of the strategic communication plan. So I think that it is very important also to understand that in our master program, we are very focused on the most important strategic issues for communication management. In this slide, I have written a website, which is the Communication Monitor EU, which is a website where you can find one of the most important and extensive research in the world about strategic communication and strategic issues for communication management. And it is very important because when we prepare materials for our students, we always refer to these strategic issues. So every year we adapt materials to these strategic issues. We invite also persons from the professional world that can testify also the fact that these are strategic issues for the profession. For instance, for this year, we have been focused on the link between strategy, the business strategy, and the communication. So the fact that a strategic communication professional should be able to translate business strategy and business goals into communication choices, into communication strategies, into communication plans. Coping with the digital evolution, obviously, it is very important for strategic communicators, and also big data, algorithms, value of communication, and explaining the value of communication to top executives. So these are just some examples of the strategic issues on which we are focused when we teach to our students what is strategic communication, and above all, how strategic communication can be effective for publics. Okay, in this slide we have the program structure and the courses, and I want just to tell you two things. First of all, as you can see, the 2 years are different because during the first year, students should only attend courses in the first and the second semester. Consider that in Italy, just for international students like you, in Italy, first semester starts in September and ends in December, while the second semester starts in February and ends in May. So you have to attend courses during all the first year, while the second year is divided into two parts. The first semester you attend courses, and during the second semester you have different options to complete your path. So you can, for instance, go abroad and to attend a double degree, or just to spend a period abroad in different countries, in other universities. You can decide to make a field project, which is a sort of consultancy project with a company. You can define, or you can find obviously an internship in Italy or abroad. And obviously during the second semester you have all the students should also have to work on their final dissertation. So as you can see, you have different structures, a different structure of the 2 years. And another point that I want to underline is that, as you can see, during the first semester, you study some topics which are very general, so very general topics such as strategy and management, organizational behavior, fundamentals of strategic communication, and so on. So you study very generic topic about not only strategic communication but also organizations and management. And as you can see, during the second semester of the first year, but also the first semester of the second year, the courses become more specialized. Okay, so for instance, during the second year, you study some very specialized topics, such as financial communication, such as internal communication, such as communication of corporate social responsibility, and so on. So that is very, very important, because strategic communicators should have some very basic should know very basic and general concepts about the way of functioning of organizations and companies, but also the way of functioning of communication processes. And then they should also learn some technical skills in order to manage communication during very special moments, such as such as with shareholders and financial investors, or just to communicate with employees. So they should also try to learn some techniques in order to communicate with different types of publics and stakeholders. Okay, these are just some examples of career opportunities that you can have after this master program. So you can I think that this master program is very special because you can just become an expert of strategic communication, generally speaking, or you can also decide to be specialized and to specialize yourself in a specific sector. For instance, to become an expert of brand identity or reputation, or to become a digital communication manager because you like the digital technologies and you like to develop some digital competencies. Or again, you can become a corporate storytelling expert, or a crisis communication manager, or an internal communication manager, and so on. So what is very important is that if you attend this master program, you can try to learn very general competencies, but you can also decide to be specialized in some sectors, because you can, for instance, select some optional courses and attend some optional courses. You can make a final dissertation in a specific field, so you can acquire more specific and distinctive competencies. Okay, now I want just to tell you in a very concise and precise way which are the 5 pillars that, in our opinion, are the strengths of this master program. First of all, yes, if you can go to the egg. Okay, so these are the teaching methods. Okay, so for us, the teaching methods are very, very important and very, very strategic and crucial. And so we try to teach to our students by mixing them. Okay, so we propose to our students, for instance, simulations. I For instance, I think of courses in crisis communication. Students make some simulations of crisis. The students make a lot of assignments in order to learn to argue in English, obviously some concepts, or just to reflect upon some issues. They discuss with the teacher a lot of case studies. They work on a lot of company brief and projects, because we have a lot of companies which propose real briefs and real projects to our students. And finally, at the end of their path, they can also decide to make a field project, so just a consultancy project in groups, or they can make an internship. Okay, I want now to ask to Professor I want to ask to Professor Mortarelli. She is a professor of digital communication management, and I want to ask her just to make a very concrete example of teaching methods in our classes, please.
Okay, thank you, Professor Romenti. Thank you, Stefania, and hello to everybody. Usually during my courses, so my course is about digital communication management, and of course my aim is to guide you and to help you in developing ability and competencies to manage professionally digital communication tools. So you are digital native, so maybe you probably manage tools like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, or Clubhouse, but from a private point of view. For what concerns the professional, of course, side, what we usually use as a teaching method is a real and deep collaboration with many companies. So what does it mean? You will have the possibility during the course to meet many practitioners and many professionals that will share with you their experience, that will ask you and will challenge you in discussing real problems and in find a real solution. So only to provide some example about the last year, during the last year we had the opportunity to encounter manager from Heineken, who illustrate to our student the digital journey to follow in order to create and formulate correct and proper digital strategies. We had the opportunity to meet Google professionals who explain to our student how the data-driven communication work and how people and users can be attracted by specific videos, by specific advertising. So how to create this advertising. And of course, we have the possibility, and we will try usually to cover different industries in order to provide you an overall overview. So we have a business-to-business company, but also business-to-consumer company. So another example that we usually that I usually mention for introducing this course is the cooperation, for instance, with Enel company that last year provided our student with a real brief. So asked to our students to develop a social media strategy for positioning the company as a thematic leader about the topic of sustainable energy. And for doing so, my students were trained to use specific softwares, specific tools, in order, of course, to put into practice the theoretical principles that we discussed during the lesson. So we can say that this is my course, but of course, this is a common feature of our master degree, that the course is a very practice-based. So that means that you will have the opportunity to work on a real-life case study, to use professional tools and softwares, so in order to be prepared for the futures and to develop the main abilities that you need to hone, that you need to have. So for what concerns digital, you will train for, of course, so you will train for collecting, interpreting data, and for converting this data in strategic insight. You will train for developing relational strategies and managing a different social media tool in an integrated way. And finally, you will train for measuring your performance in the digital context. So, and this will be possible thanks to the cooperation between the academic world and the professional world, because of course you need to be really connected with real life and with real life experience. So, Stefania, I think that I can say that for what concerns the teaching method of my course.
Thank you. Thank you so much to Professor Mortarelli. And that is an example. That's an example of a course in digital communication management, but these teaching methods are used in all courses, and they are adapted obviously to the topic that are taught in each course. So that I think that it is very important to understand this point. Okay, we can go to the next slide. Okay, the faculty. The faculty is a mixed faculty. So we have some academics who are very expert in some specific field, and specialized in some fields of strategic communication, together with managers, communication professionals. Here you can see some examples. For instance, CSR communication, we have a professor. She is Laura Ilia. She is a professor of CSR communication at Fribourg University in Switzerland. While, for instance, Chiara Valentini, she is a professor of public affairs at the University of Jyväskylä in Finland. And together with Laura Ilia and Professor Chiara Valentini, there are some professionals who will enrich the contents of this course from more practical point of view. So we have some communication managers who are, together with Ilia and Valentini, will teach to our students more technical and just share some tools and share some professional advice. Luciano Luffarelli is the professor, for instance, of crisis communication, is very expert in the field, but he is the director of communication of Piaggio Aerospace, which is a multinational company. So we have a very rich and international faculty, because we have selected persons with a deep experience, not just in the field, but also at international level. During the year, obviously, we have a lot of visiting professors, so we have organized some open lessons. You can see here some examples. So we are organizing some open lessons for the future, so please look at the ULM website of our university just to see which are the next open lessons with visiting professors and experts from all over the world, because obviously we want to stimulate our students. We wanted to stimulate our students by proposing them the contents and some experiences with experts from all over the world about some key topics. Yes, from the point of view of international partnership, I think that this slide obviously is not exhaustive, because we have a long list of universities and international universities with whom we have a partnership. Our students can select them, and most of the times we can also try to suggest them which are the most important opportunities for their career or for their specialization, because as you know, some universities are more specialized in some areas, so some universities offer some courses which are better in some areas, and obviously less effective and less important in other areas. So we try to suggest to our students which are the best options on the basis of their the specialization that they wanted to develop for themselves. And these are just some examples of universities with whom we have developed a partnership. For instance, Lund University in Sweden, because because Lund University developed a strategic communication master program some years ago, which is very similar to our master program. So we can offer to our students some courses and some options which are very similar to ours, but which are also complementary to ours. And then we have, for instance, other examples. For instance, the Université Catholique de Louvain. A lot of students, for instance, go to Belgium, in Louvain, in order to attend courses at the University of Louvain, because this university we have more courses which are more focused on political sciences, for instance. So some students, for instance, are very passionate of public affairs, lobbying, and strategic communication at the political level. So they prefer to go to Belgium, in Louvain, just to go deeper and deeper in these contents. Or we have a lot of students, for instance, that in the past years selected Australia, Sydney, and other locations. So this is not an exhaustive list, but just some examples of universities where you can spend a period of time. I remember you that the period of time is the second semester of the second year. And then, together with the exchange programs, you can also select the double degrees. We are working on more double degrees. At the moment, we have two British universities, Huddersfield universities and the Cardiff Metropolitan Universities, with whom we have developed these double degrees. Students who attend courses at Huddersfield universities can get a certificate in marketing communications, so they attend more courses in the field of marketing communication, obviously, while at Cardiff, students can get a certificate in international business management. In this case, the double degree is a bit different from the exchange solution or the exchange option, because for the exchange option, you spend the time, so some months abroad in a country at university. You can select courses to attend, while for a double degree you have not the opportunity to select courses, but it is in the courses that you have to attend just to get this certificate are fixed, have been pre-selected, and you have also to pay an additional extra fee to get a title, because you get a double title, so a title also from the Huddersfield University and from Cardiff University, together with the title at Ulm University. And every year, obviously, before the coronavirus and the pandemic, every year we organize also a summer school. The summer school experiences are very, very inspiring, and they were very successful for our students, because the summer school are organized in some very specific particular countries. For instance, in 2019, our students went for 3 weeks in South America, as you can see. And in these summer schools, our students have the opportunity to meet some professors, for instance, to attend some lessons with professors at universities, different universities also, and also to meet managers of international companies, for instance, Italian companies, as you can see, or European companies, for instance, as you can see in this case, or companies which developed their business also abroad. So, for instance, in South America. So our students during this summer school study which are the opportunities abroad, and which are the elements, the strategic elements to adapt strategic communication, for instance, efforts and strategic communication plans in different countries. So in this case, for instance, they studied the culture in South America, and also the way through which these companies adapted their strategic communication programs and businesses. In our master program, we have an advisory board. You can see some companies which are included in the advisory board. As you can see, these are multinational companies, these are Italian companies, and these companies had a very important strategic role because they helped us to develop the master program, and then every year they suggest to us which are the contents that we have to add or that we have to cancel, or which are the strategic trends in the business field that our students should learn. And then these are the companies which offer internships and also projects to our students. In the next slide, okay, we can, in the next slide, we can see, for instance, the internships. So we can see the companies which offer, some companies, just some examples of companies which offer the internships to our students. Okay, before reading and just also trying to answer to questions about entry requirements, I would like to listen to Giulia because she's a student, and I would like to invite Giulia to share her experience with you. Your microphone, please.
Thank you, Professor Romenti. I'm Giulia, and I'm graduating in strategic communication. What I can say, it has been extremely challenging but rewarding journey. During these 2 years of the master degree, students have the opportunity to take part into different project works with selected companies. Companies usually come to the university and commission a brief on which students supervised by professors work on. Project can be done during each class to apply the theory right away or towards the end of the course. The fact that the projects are commissioned by organization is a very good training for us because we have the opportunity to deal with real life situation and understand the organization demands. At the end, delivery and discussion of the final project report is usually done in front of your classmates, professors, and organization representative. Another great opportunity to express your public speaking abilities and receive useful feedbacks to understand mistakes, improve your abilities, and understand organization demands. But why projects are the highlight of the course? First of all, the university has always been committed to create a synergy between companies, professionals, and the academic world in order to understand the needs of companies and to constantly update the skills that the students must have to face the world of work in the best possible way. As you know, few jobs today don't involve working with others in teams, and the communicator working world is all about communicating with other people. But working with other people sometimes can be hard, and managing time, planning meetup, and functioning as one entity can take practice and a lot of patience. So the benefit of group work is learning and openness to critique, which is essential for us in our future in the work world. But this kind of critical thinking is much easier to learn at university environment than on your first project in a new job. And this can save you a lot of frustration or even costly mistake later on. So teamwork can also improve the final result because you have the opportunity to meet a lot of people and you are able to draw upon each other unique strength, seeking the expertise and the abilities of your colleagues and do the best. What is extremely important is that a project means learning by doing. A project is a chance to immerse yourself in a more active learning experience Projects include activities such as planning, researching, creating, thinking critically, but also reporting. And all these things may seem a bit far away when you are learning through assimilating information. But the things you have learned during the course can then come to life into a project. Project planning and management skills today are essentials, and whatever your goals are, experiencing the process of planning, conducting, and working with other people, but also reporting your work will help you in the future. Project management skills are critical today and are extremely important outcomes. Project usually aims to take us as students to think systematically about how to make something substantial go from an idea to a reality. That's why briefs are real, are commissioned by real organizations, and are commissioned by professionals. In this sense, I want to suggest you to do practice in group setting, and the more practice you do, the better it is for your future, trust me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Giulia, for your words. And then obviously if some students want to ask you questions, you will be at their disposal. Okay, I want just to conclude the presentation by showing you which are the entry requirements and how to apply. We have two entry requirements. First of all, your degree at the bachelor level, obviously, and you have to. You can find all the information in our website, but you should contact our administrative offices just to check if your degree is okay and if it can be accepted to enter the master program in strategic communication. And obviously, also the level, your proficiency in the English language at level B2. So you have to be. It should be certified. Then how to apply? You can find some the online documents for the online application in the website. So your documents will be evaluated by administrative offices. But what is important for the international students like you is that we have the test. It's not an exam itself, so it is not a traditional exam, but we ask you to record just a few short videos, just short videos of 2 minutes, more or less, and to answer to some questions concerning your interest for the field of strategic communication and yourself as a prospective student of such a program. So you have to record these short videos and to upload them in the platform, and we will evaluate your degree, your experience, your CV, and obviously your proficiency in the English language thanks to the videos and also the contents of these videos in order to and then we will evaluate you in this way. I think that we can okay, we stop our presentation, and I think that there is time for your questions.
Thank you very much, Professor Romenti. I am now back online with you. Thank you all for your very informative presentation. Honestly, I have to say that this presentation was so good that on the live chat on YouTube, we only have just one question concerning the double degree opportunity, which was already answered during the live presentation, as a matter of fact. And the same person, the same prospective student interested, is asking also about internship opportunities. So can we maybe say something a bit more specific about the huge amount of internship opportunities that your your master's degree offers.
Yes, absolutely, and probably also Julia can tell us her experience, because I think that for our students in our university, of course, generally speaking, but above all for graduates in strategic communication, there are a lot of internship opportunities, because as we have seen during the presentation, our students can enter in companies, in institutions, but also not for-profit associations. So they can enter in so many different sectors and so many areas. So that is also the reason why the opportunities of internships are so numerous. And we have and also, what is important is that during the lessons, as we have seen, our students have the opportunity to meet a lot of managers and a lot of professionals and a lot of companies. And during these projects, and during these lessons and during these meetings, sometimes companies offer internships to our students, because they sometimes they are just in they enter our classes just to select our students, or just they see that our students are very are so active, and they react to their proposals in a very good way. So and they also prepare very good projects, very professional projects. So at the end of these meetings with companies, at the end of these projects with companies, a lot of times companies decide to offer internships to our students. So I think that the opportunities to enter in the professional fields is not the opportunities do not miss to our students. Julia, probably you have a similar experience.
I can tell my experience. I did an internship at the Reputation Institute in Milan. It's an institute that measure reputation in companies. It was a great experience. It was for me an opportunity to apply all my learnings, all the skills that I acquired during the 2 years. I want to suggest you to dedicate time to learn how to develop your public speaking abilities, how to stay in teams, how to develop your critical thinking, because during the internship are fundamental elements to do your best. Don't waste all the opportunities that the university give you to meet professionals, because it's an extremely important moment, and it's one of the real values of this course.
That's really interesting. I don't know if Professor Murtarelli has something to add to these comments before we move on to the next question.
Yes, I think that also when you will meet professionals and practitioners during the course, you had a possibility to enter in contact with them, to make you visible to them. And sometimes during this course, for instance, my suggestion is always to add them on LinkedIn by justifying why they want to connect with them on LinkedIn. And from this connection on LinkedIn, sometimes started also the possibility to candidate students for possible interviews. So I think that really university is so much connected with companies that can, and you can have the possibility to meet practitioners that you have really a lot of opportunities for starting an internship. So this is quite interesting for students.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We have another question coming from the live chat on YouTube. I'm gonna, if you agree with me, I'm gonna read aloud this question, but we are not gonna reply to this question during the live broadcast. Maybe we can, take this question to the Q&A session on Microsoft Teams. Kira is asking what are the language or other requirements for incoming Erasmus Plus students who stay one semester and want to do some courses in the master's degree. Maybe we can reply to this question later in the Q&A because it's a bit specific. But before closing this live session, one of the most frequently asked questions today, of course, during the open day, was the, so to say, pandemic experience in each and every degree program that we have inside our IULM academic offer. So I just wanted to hear maybe something from each one of you about the difficulties and maybe also the advantages that you faced during, especially during the first phase of the pandemic, the first wave, and how you had to adapt somehow to the unprecedented situation.
Okay, first of all, from a teaching point of view, what we can say is that our students, but also our professors, adapted very, very well and very, very quickly to the new way of teaching, for instance. So I have seen that all the lessons were absolutely regular, and our students at the end of the first semester, but also during the second semester, in the second semester, the teaching was blended, not completely online, but also at the end of the second semester, our students were very satisfied because we asked to them and they answered to some satisfaction surveys, and we have seen that they were very, very satisfied because we took care of our lessons a lot, and we tried also to not just to neglect some aspects because the teaching was online, but we tried to enrich our lessons because of the difficulties. So we wanted to offer a very rich experience to our students, also if they were just online. We invited so many professionals, we invited so many international professors during our online classes, and our students appreciated a lot our efforts. And then we didn't cancel projects, absolutely not. We proposed to our students all the projects, all the exercises, and we tried to organize our classes in an effective way to make our students work effectively. So I think that I'm very satisfied because the efforts, so our professors did a huge effort to reach these results, but also our students, obviously, because what we Julia probably can say, I think that Julia can say the same thing. What we tried to do in our class is to make, we try to push our students to be very constructive, to be very, very positive, and just to manage problems, not just to complain or just to criticize, but we always ask them to criticize, to criticize and obviously to underline problems, but in a constructive way. So I think that this soft skill that we teach to our students was very important during the pandemic and during the semester during the first semester above all.
Thank you, Professor Ramenti. I don't know if maybe Giulia Baratelli wants to add something before.
I just want to add that university never leave you alone. always is always able to answer to your questions, your problems, and try always to help you in everything. For example, lots of students during the first period of pandemic experienced that period in the internship. So a lot of students did the internship, but at home, and university never left them alone. So my experience is extremely positive. I really feel proud of my choice, because university has been always present during these 2 years.
Thank you. I saw that Professor Murtarelli wanted to add something, maybe a comment on this COVID experience.
Yes, I totally agree with Professor Romenti. I think that it was an opportunity to go outside our comfort zone. So this was especially from a teacher point of view. So because especially professors, so as a professor, I was required to increase my standard of teaching, because online teaching is totally different from a real teaching in presence. And I really was positively surprised, and I really appreciated the effort of students to follow lessons, to participate actively. So we haven't changed the practice-based view of the course. We only tried to create a more stimulating and interesting online lesson in order to go on into the end. So it was a really opportunity for grow up professionally and personally, I think.
Thank you very, very much for this final round of replies. Obviously, I do agree that IULM University never leaves you alone. And on a personal note, I have to add maybe a small comment, a closing remark about our general, very one-to-one, very personal approach to international students. In particular, we always like to interact with them and meet and greet them, and follow their path from the very first day of enrollment until the day of graduation, and possibly after that. So if you agree with me, I would like to close this live broadcast for the moment and transfer our conversation to the dedicated Microsoft Teams room, where we will be very happy to answer all the questions that may arise from the audience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. And see you in a minute. Now the link will appear on screen, also with a QR code. If you're using multiple devices, you can also use the QR code and reach us on Teams immediately. So see you in a minute.
See you. Bye.
Thank you.